Jama'a masu kallon tashar NTA Hausa barkamu da warhaka. Kini.
Mr. President has promised to look into it, and that if there was any patent injustice, that is given assurance that it will be rectified.
Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko takes his case on political crisis in the Sunshine State to President Muhammadu Buhari.
It is a change from impunity to accountability, change from corruption to transparency.
46th National Council on Information flags off in Asaba. Food and Agriculture Organization places 16 states in Nigeria on food security alert. And Nigeria and Portugal set to commence bilateral air services agreement. A warm welcome to NTA Network News. I'm Elizabeth Banu, and we're reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Governor Olusegun Mimiko of Ondo State has made a passionate appeal to President Muhammadu Buhari to wade into what he called the potentially dangerous political crisis in the Sunshine State. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the governor, who met the president behind closed doors, described as shocking and disturbing the replacement by INEC of Eyitayo Jegede's name with that of Jimoh Ibrahim as PDP candidate for the forthcoming governorship election.
The reality of it, the politics of it, that's just no justification for what INEC has done. It can cause conflagration in the state. And that is why, as the Chief Security Officer of the state, I've come to alert Mr. President of the potential danger of this injustice so that we can nip it at the bud.
What was the Mr. President's reaction?
Mr. President has promised to look into it, and that if there was any patent injustice, that is given assurance that it will be rectified.
Your Excellency, as we speak, there are people on the streets of Abuja.
Court ordered that we should restore their registration, and in compliance with that court order, the Commission on the 1st of September 2016 decided to restore these 10 parties.
The number of registered political parties in Nigeria now totals 40. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Okafor, NTA News.
Still in Ondo State, the supporters of the candidate of Ahmed Makarfi led faction of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Eyitayo Jegede, took to the streets in Akure, Ondo State, to protest the ruling of Justice Abang of the Federal High Court, which declared Jimoh Ibrahim as the PDP governorship candidate in the November 26 election. Economic activities were affected due to the protest.
We plead with them. They want to make their protest, let it be very, very peaceful, and let it be within the ambit of the law.
I'm begging our people, not only I'm begging them to desist. People should not take the law into their own hands.
Meanwhile, the Makarfi faction of the People's Democratic Party has appealed to its supporters in Ondo State to remain calm, as it has filed an appeal against the decision of INEC not to recognize its candidate Eyitayo Jegede for the Ondo State governorship election. This was during a press briefing by the spokesperson of the caretaker committee, Mr. Dayo Adeyeye.
Not only PDP supporters in Ondo State, but the entire people of Ondo State, to please ensure violence. They should sheathe their sword. They should go back to their houses. This matter is in court. I believe that ultimately we will get justice in the courts. And therefore, for now, whatever they are doing is too preemptive. They should go back and be calm.
Still on the political scene, the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, says its National Working Committee has resolved the recent internal disagreement that rocked the national leadership of the party. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Ifeatu Obi-Okoye, who briefed the media after the party's National Working Committee meeting held in Abuja, affirmed that the national stakeholders of APGA resolved the dispute. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The National Publicity Secretary of APGA disclosed that the resolution to stay as one united party was reached at a meeting convened on the 11th of October 2016 between members of the National Working Committee and national stakeholders of the party, led by their chairman, Board of Trustees and Governor of Anambra State, Mr. Willie Obiano.
The elsewhere internal disagreement in APGA was unanimously resolved. We further reaffirm our support to the national leadership of the party under Ozombu Dr. Victor Ikoye as the national chairman of APGA.
Mr. Ifeatu Obi-Okoye urged aggrieved members of the party's National Working Committee to abide by the said decision and revert to status quo in the interest of stability and the progress of APGA. 21 out of the 28 members of the party's National Working Committee attended the meeting in Abuja. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And away from political matters, information managers have been asked to key into the digital revolution in the industry in order to deliver optimally on their responsibilities. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed said this at the 46th meeting of the National Council on Information in Asaba. Anthony Forson reports.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, while applauding the revolution in the industry and describing it as heartwarming, its abuse, he said, portends immense danger for positive development. Hence the need for professionals to take advantage of this revolution and make credible the practice.
We as media managers must not despair. We must up our game by keying into the same evolving new information technology through training and retraining of our personnel, acquisition of state-of-the-art technology, as well as deploying uncommon commitment and passion to what we do.
On the need for attitudinal change, which is in line with the theme of the Council's 46th meeting, leveraging on information and digital technology to sustain the federal government's change agenda, the minister said information managers must be true agents of change, as the task is daunting.
We are therefore being tasked on a daily basis with how to balance and make the best of it.
For effective information dissemination, Lai Mohammed called for increased funding for information management in the country. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, on his part, said effective information management and flow promotes good governance.
Efficient and free flow of information aids organizational efficiency, promotes understanding of government policies, programs, and actions, encourages accountability, and documents the activities of government for the benefit of present and future generations.
The National Council on Information is an assemblage of all stakeholders in the business of government information management.
Yet in Asaba, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says those in leadership positions should strive to be just and fair in all they do, as the positions they occupy is in trust. It was during his conversation with Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Here again is Anthony Forson. We'll bring you that story in the course of the bulletin. Now, former Head of State General Abdulsalam Abubakar has appealed for collaboration towards addressing farmers-herdsmen conflict that has become a major security concern in the country. General Abdulsalam, who made the appeal while interacting with the Minister of Agriculture, Audu Obe, and governors of Kebbi and Niger states and the Central Bank in his farm in Minna, also expressed support for the federal government's initiative to establish ranches and grazing reserves for herdsmen. Musa Baba Ali reports.
Issues relating to agriculture and its role in the socio-economic development of Nigeria were the focus of discussion during the interaction between the Minister of Agriculture and the three governors, as well as the former head of state. The Minister of Agriculture and Central Bank Governor briefed the former head of state on the steps being taken to address challenges being faced presently in the effort to ensure agricultural development. These include financial inclusion of the farmers, input supply and value addition to produce for exports.
It was very soon we're telling each of the zones in their areas of specialization. Meet here quite often the farmers at the beginning of season, halfway through, and harvest season. What are we doing next? Who is getting involved in what? Soil test results, what fertilizer to use, and where to find the fertilizer.
All the farms, everybody is building everywhere. And farmers like me, we have fenced our own farm. So these herdsmen have no place to go. So this is the biggest challenges we have. We must, as individual and as government, try to provide grazing and water point for these herds people. And as we are doing that, we must set schools for their children.
The visitors took time to tour the Mezube farms located along Mina-Bidda Road in Niger State. In Mina, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And the federal government has pledged to support rice and wheat producing states with modern farming equipment to further boost their output. This is coming as the Central Bank of Nigeria urged state governments to key into the Anchor Borrowers Program initiated by the Apex Bank and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture. Musa Baba Aliyu reports that the Central Bank Governor and the Minister of Agriculture were in Niger State to inspect the impact of the program in the state.
Niger State is one of the major rice-producing states with the capacity to produce over 1.5 million metric tons of the produce annually. The farmers are presently producing less than 1 million metric tons due to financial constraints to purchase inputs and other farming equipment. It is in the view of this that the state government key into the Anchor Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria and credit facilities were disbursed to the farmers at single-digit rate. The initiative has increased the farmers' output to the tune of over 900,000 metric tons of rice during this year's rainy season.
We will work with the communities to see to it that during the dry season farming, the challenges that they anticipate, providing tube wells, providing the water pumps under the Anchor Borrower Program, and as well as fertilizer and the seedlings, we can provide everything to see to it that we're able to achieve the objective of ensuring that this country is able to feed its people, and so we can stop importing these agricultural products.
We're determined to support the farmers and local people to improve and increase production.
With this success, the federal government plans to support the farmers with irrigation facilities, threshers and harvesters before the end of dry season farming activities.
You can be sure we're going to give them every support they need, including the rice mills, so that this rice is milled, it is fresh and made available for Nigerians to eat.
The rice farmers are expected to be linked with off-takers, especially the milling factories in the state. In Bidda, Niger State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And as part of the federal government's efforts to diversify the economy through agriculture to ensure food security and job creation, the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, has flagged off the Graduate Farmers Employment Scheme of the Anambra Imo River Basin Development Authority in Owerri, Imo State. Aliu Tukur reports.
The Graduate Farmers Employment Scheme is established to boost agriculture through irrigation farming and also create opportunities that will address the challenges of food insecurity, poverty, environmental degradation and unemployment. The scheme is a continuous one engaging selected participants in batches of 50 graduates who will be trained in various agricultural activities. The beneficiaries will be empowered to establish their own agric ventures or becoming trainers, thereby creating multiplier effect to further sustain the objectives of the program.
We don't want the river basins to be doing erosion control projects or street light, or rehabilitating schools. No, we want them to concentrate on doing earth dams, irrigation systems, maintaining the dams and irrigation facilities, and the farms that we have, making sure they provide. We also want to restore extension services now. What we are doing is that we are training the locals on this method of implementing farming. So you see, we are working hand in hand with the Songhai farming Porto Novo.
The scheme will help the youth and the community at large in the areas of curbing youth
The scheme, which is part of the effort to reposition the River Basin Development Authorities to perform their core mandate, will be replicated in all the 109 senatorial districts across the country. Aliu Tukur, NTA News.
The federal government says it is now concentrating on generating more power through renewable energy to attain power sufficiency in the country. Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, said this while on inspection of the Gurara Dam in Kaduna State. Correspondent Musbah Danwahab reports.
Already serving its purpose of supplying water to the FCT and partially fulfilling its supply for irrigation, Gurara Dam still has a more critical dream to fulfill. The dam was designed to generate 30 megawatts of hydropower intended to improve the economic activities of Kaduna State and for rural electrification of the surrounding communities. However, that power, as well as job opportunities, are literally stranded here. A substation and a 120-kilometer transmission line are needed to evacuate the power.
All the lines are already built, as you can see. It's just the substation where it comes down in and can be redistributed that we're waiting to complete. And with the approval we have now, we should finish very early next year.
And thanks to the cooperation of Water Resources Ministry, the minister says this and other dams are providing alternative means to boost the national grid.
So that's 30. Add to 40 yesterday, add to 215 in Kaduna, and so on and so forth. It brings you back to where we started this journey from. Incremental power everywhere that we can get it. So the reason why we must complete it is that it gives us 30 megawatts of incremental energy to add to the energy that is not enough.
From Gurara, Kaduna State, Musbah and Wahab, NC News.
We earlier told you that Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says those in leadership positions should strive to be just and fair in all they do, as the positions they occupy is in trust. It was during his conversation with Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Anthony Forson reports.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, while describing the governor as a man who has embraced what he called a no victor, no vanquished disposition, is worthy of emulation by eschewing party differences and remaining focused to work for the generality of the people in the overall interest of the state.
Given the fact that you've been elected on a platform, political party which is different from that of the federal government, I think speaks volumes about your commitment and patriotism. And I'm not surprised. Having been a senator, I think you have a broader perspective of Nigeria than what most people will have.
Responding, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa assured the minister that despite party differences, Delta State under his administration is committed to work and support the federal government in its drive to build Nigeria.
For us as a state, we will continue to partner with the federal government and all of the governments. Because after elections, it's about governance. The real truth is, it's no longer about APC or PDP or APGA or any other party. It's about governance.
The minister was accompanied on the visit by the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, heads of parastatals under his ministry, and state commissioners of information attending the National Council on Information meeting. In Asaba, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Wife of the President, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has said she remains steadfast in supporting the administration of her husband, President Buhari, to successfully deliver on improving the lives of Nigerians, especially women and children. In that regard, Mrs. Buhari has flagged off the distribution of food items and other essential commodities to families in Benishek, in Kaga Council area of Borno State, to cushion hardship as a result of activities of insurgents. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
The 350 families who benefited from the gesture are drawn from the villages of Kaga local government area of Borno State. About 50 different kinds of food items, essential commodities and other household utensils comprising rice, sugar, milk, bedding, wrappers and semolina, as well as cooking and other kitchen utensils. The symbolic presentation of the items to the beneficiaries is a reflection of the commitment of the wife of the president in bringing succor to not only the IDPs but those affected by the crisis in the northeast through her massive mobilization of huge financial and material support by well-meaning Nigerians and other international donors as part of the Get Involved campaign launched in August this year as component of Future Assured.
I'm here today to flag off the distribution of the food items donated by well-meaning Nigerians from south to north to east to west. I thank all Nigerians.
Mrs. Buhari promised that she will leave no stone unturned in ensuring that all victims of insurgency in the state and other parts of the country benefit from this similar gesture.
We thank Almighty Allah for giving us the opportunity to start fulfilling the promises that we have made. That's the essence of having a leader. When you promise, you make sure that you fulfill your promises. And that is what we are all after. And that's what I'm after in particular, the success of my husband's administration. And he can't do it alone except with the help of the governor's wives, and all members of our progressive party.
While promising to remain committed in supporting the wife of the president in her effort for the upliftment of the living standard of women and children in Nigeria, the governor of Borno State, Kashim Shettima, and his wife, Nana, said their happiness for the love and commitment of the wife of the president in the healing process of the agony are the victims of insurgency knows no bound.
I want to thank our mother, Hajia Aisha Buhari. She has shown love and affection to Borno State.
I enjoy you, the beneficiaries and officials of this council, to remain steadfast in supporting this administration and be firm in your prayers for our state and national leaders to have the courage, zeal, and the wisdom to usher us into peace and prosperity.
The beneficiaries expressed their happiness with the gesture. In Maiduguri, Borno State capital, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
You can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Nigeria and Portugal are set to commence implementation of a bilateral air service agreement. This and more when we return. Stay with us.
This is a happy moment for me and for all Nigerians.
Amina Ali Nkeke, the first Chibok school girl to be rescued in the renewed onslaught against the Boko Haram insurgency.
Amina's rescue gives us new hope.
Federal government has formally received the 21 abducted Chibok girls.
These dear daughters of ours have seen the worst that the world has to offer. It is now time for them to experience the best that the world can do for them. Government will sustain the effort until all the remaining girls return safely.
One opportunity leads to many. Dial *141# to get Jobberman, Airtel One Touch, and many more without data charges. Only on Airtel.
Does your antiseptic liquid kill the germs that cause flu, diarrhea, typhoid? Dettol does. Dettol provides 10 times more protection versus leading competition. So why take a risk with your loved ones?
Dettol Mom. She only trusts Dettol antiseptic liquid to kill 100 illness-causing germs, and it's recommended for cuts and scrapes. Worry less and love more. Don't just be any mom, be a Dettol mom. Dettol, be 100% sure.
For quick and easy banking on your mobile, like checking your balance or transferring money, use our mobile banking services today. To find out more, visit us online at ecobank.com. Move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
from what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
IGR Summit for local government leaders and administrators in Nigeria. With the significant fall in the price of crude oil and in keeping with the diversification policy of federal government of Nigeria, Sean Cousins Consulting and NTA TV Enterprise invites chairman of LGAs, councillors and DAS to IGR Summit for local government leaders and administrators in Nigeria. Date 16 to 17 November 2016. Venue Rays Continental Hotel, Central Business District, Abuja. For inquiries, please call 0818502145 or 090555999925. You can also email us with info@scbsedu.org or visit our website on www.scbsedu.org/LG to register. IGR Summit. The world has changed. So must we.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated Senator Kabiru Ibrahim Gaya on his election as Vice President of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, for Africa at the just concluded 135th General Assembly of the Union in Geneva, Switzerland. The president expressed belief that Senator Gaya possesses the experience and credentials to contribute to people-oriented legislation of the international body, and confident that the senator will serve the IPU with dedication and integrity, in addition to representing the collective voice of African parliamentarians on priority issues that promote peace, security, development and prosperity on the continent. President Buhari assured the IPU Vice President of the full support of the federal government and other well-meaning Nigerians throughout his tenure. And President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated legal luminary, educationist, philanthropist, Chief Arthur Babalola as he turns 85 on October 30, 2016. President Buhari, in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, joins members of the Are Babalola's family, close associates, professional colleagues and the academia in celebrating this milestone in the life of a man who epitomizes unique and enviable qualities. The president reaffirms that the legal luminary's lifestyle exemplifies discipline, diligence, honesty and wisdom, virtues he employed from childhood to succeed in spite of poverty and deprivation. President Buhari believes Are Babalola can look back with pride at his achievement, which include the God-fearing act of always catering for the poor and underprivileged and mentoring of lawyers from his Emmanuel chambers that have turned out senior advocates of Nigeria and attorneys general and ministers of justice. Muslims have been enjoined to avoid envy and hatred as they promote disunity among humanity. This was the thrust of sermon at Al-Nur Jumat Mosque, Wuse, Abuja. Abdullah Garba reports.
The Imam read from Surah Al-Falaq and the 2 rakat prayers to discourage envy and hatred, advising Muslims to be their brothers' keepers. The scholar reminded followers that a united society could only be achieved devoid of envy. Some of the worshippers emphasized this point, stressing that human beings are not equal and blessings should not be the source of envy.
Actually, the type of society we have is a society that is free from this. The heart of every member of the society has to or needs to be clean, so that he doesn't hold any grudge or anything against his brother.
Let us all strive to be one another's keeper. Let us all strive to do away with petty jealousy and envy, and together we will be able to build a stronger ummah in Islam and a stronger nation called Nigeria.
Today's Jumat falls on the 26th day in the month of Muharram. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Birnunkudu, NTA News.
Minister of State Aviation Hadi Sirika says Nigeria and the Republic of Portugal are set to commence the implementation of a bilateral air service agreement as part of government's effort towards establishing and asserting the nation as an undisputed leader in air transportation on the African continent. He said this at a meeting with the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of Portugal, Teresa Ribeiro. The minister said the new BASA will open a new page in the hitherto cordial diplomatic relationship between Nigeria and Portugal, while also deepening business between the two nations.
We can exchange verbal notes on this, so we need your verbal note to say yes, you accept.
We as a country in Nigeria were more than happy to have this island between Lisbon and Abuja. And it will signal a new page in relationship between countries. So I'm extremely delighted, and I don't think there will be any hindrances.
In another development, the Minister of State for Aviation, Hadi Sirika, appealed to foreign airlines operating in Nigeria in the process of downgrading or suspending their operations to reconsider their plans, as the challenges currently besetting the industry and other sectors would soon be over. He made the appeal while he received the African Regional Manager for Emirates Airlines in his office. The management of the State House has resolved to eliminate all forms of corruption and corrupt tendencies in the seat of government, in line with the National Reorientation Campaign, Change Begins With Me. The Permanent Secretary, Jalal Arabi, stated this at the opening of a sensitization on misconduct in the public service for the directorate-level staff of the State House. Adamu Sambo reports.
The session organized by the State House Anti-Corruption and Transparency Unit is meant to internalize the values of probity, transparency and accountability in the conduct of government business in the State House. The Permanent Secretary, Jalal Arabi, restated his personal commitment and that of the State House management towards eliminating corruption, minimizing waste and leakages, as well as enforcing compliance with integrity codes as cardinal focus of the Buhari administration.
I urge you participants to avail yourselves of this unique opportunity to become change agents in the war being waged against corruption and corruptive behaviors. After all, change begins with us. Therefore, please and please, let us be more responsible.
While commending the staff for accepting to form the nucleus of the vanguard to fight corruption, the Permanent Secretary assured them that outstanding compliance behavior will be appropriately rewarded.
I again reiterate that State House management will place a very high premium on all of you to own and drive the processes for reforming and improving the State House towards optimizing efficiency.
The government is for all of us to provide services, to deliver services. And when we allow corruption to take over the wheel of governance, then it is non-dimittis for all of us. So we are using this as a preventive mode to make sure that corruption does not continue to happen. And where it is happening now, it should stop.
Participants at the forum promised to live above board in the discharge of their responsibilities towards guaranteeing a corrupt-free Nigeria seat of government. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Using the royal fathers as a tool for promoting moral values and good governance has been described as part of the means of addressing the challenges facing the nation. Assumpta Onwebule reports that this was the general view at the presentation of a book titled An Intellectual Dialogue on the Nigerian Royal Fathers and Some Critical National Issues in Abuja.
Taking a cue from the role of the royal fathers during the introduction of polio vaccination, which has now been accepted in some part of the country, the traditional rulers serve as an intermediary between the government and the governed.
The issue of unity, the issue of security, the issue of moral and social values has greatly waned. The only way to rejuvenate this is by going back to the institution called the traditional rulers.
We must go back and look at the proper role to give them, because they still are the main mobilizers of the local communities. I recall as a governor sometimes we spoke, but people will still go back to their traditional rulers to reconfirm the position that we have taken on matters.
The 459-page book, which is a compilation of intellectual discourse, is a vivid expression of how the society has disregarded moral, cultural, and traditional values.
This research took me about 7 years to talk about the tradition, what is that traditional institution. So I found that is the best system that can provide solution to our own social, economic, and cultural problem in the country.
The contributors suggested proper reflection of the history of the life of Nigerians before and just after their coming together as a nation and going back to the basis. In Abuja, Assumpta Onwebule, NTA News.
Tongeji Island in Ogun State shares proximity with Benin Republic, and the Nigerian Navy is on Tongeji. Let's hear more as we join Abdullahi in our Lagos Network Center. It's over to you, Abdullahi.
Good evening, Elizabeth, and thanks for joining us in Lagos. The Nigerian Navy is consolidating its presence at Tongeji Island, which is a Nigerian territory close to the Republic of Benin. This is with a view to protecting the island from all forms of incursions and the menace of smuggling. The report. The island is a village in Ikpokia local government area of Ogun State. It's about 2.5 hours by boat from Lagos, but it takes only 5 to 10 minutes to get to Benin Republic from the island. Its proximity to Benin Republic exposed it to incursions by some security agencies from that country with an eventual plan to take over the island.
We were getting intelligence reports that our brothers, gendarmes from Benin Republic were coming to take over the place, and they were already trying to put some structures when we decided that, look, let's come and, show presence, federal government presence here. And that informed the reason why we feel that we should secure our waterway.
With this intelligence, the Chief of the Naval Staff instructed the formation of a forward operating base on the island. The Nigerian Navy also renovated the local primary school and health center.
When I came here about 3 months ago, this school you are seeing was completely dilapidated.
We really appreciate and give a very big applause to the Nigerian Navy.
The flag officer commanding the Western Naval Command also commissioned a gymnasium and arcade at the NNS Beecroft. The Federal Road Safety Corps has appealed to all motorists to install speed-limiting devices in their vehicles as stiffer penalties await defaulters by January 2017. The Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyeyemi, stated this in a message during the flag-off of a special rally organized by the Corps in Lagos. Rotimi Oluwagbemi reports.
With the theme, Crash the Crash, Speed Kills, the Zonal Commanding Officer RS2 Lagos, Assistant Corps Marshal Shehu Saki, said that the rally will avail stakeholders in the transportation sector the opportunity to be informed on policies geared towards promoting safety on Nigerian roads. He stressed that over 50% of road accidents are as a result of overspeeding, overloading, and use of expired tires.
Speed limiting device. What we are doing presently is to further deepen their knowledge. And we have already, as I have told you, commenced on advisory enforcement. By January, we are going to start the actual enforcement of speed limiting device.
Only the living celebrates. You can only celebrate when you are alive. So it is for you to know that you must be very cautious as a driver, as a passenger. Even as a passenger, you have every right to stop that driver before he kills you. Because most drivers do not die in accident. Passenger dies.
Drive carefully, and we should obey the traffic law. All our members, they are aware that they must buy this thing.
The rally was attended by members of various transport unions in the state, as well as representatives of National Union of Petroleum Exporting and Natural Gas, NUPENG. In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwagbemi, NTA News.
On to business now. Nigeria Railway Service has maintained steady growth in the last 6 years as volume of goods transported within the country by rail hits 700 metric tons in 2016. Details in Business News segment with Amit Pius.
Hello, and it's time to talk business. Historically, the Nigerian Railway Corporation was a key mode of transportation in the country with huge opportunities of job and wealth creation. Until the early 1990s, that sector was moribund. In the last 6 years, however, the service has witnessed steady growth in the movement of goods and passengers in the country. Director of Operations of the NRC told NTA Business News that freight and passenger services have improved significantly, with volume of goods transported through the railway at about 700 tons in 2016.
I tell you for a fact that the railway is at least 25% cheaper than road in terms of cost. For example, we can carry 1,000 tons on one train. That's the equivalent of having almost 25 trailers off the road. And so people see that. And then also in terms of the reliability of the service and the time frame in which the goods take to get to the port. At the moment, we are looking towards 48, 72 hours for a train loading with grains to leave Kano and get into the port, and the other way around as well.
Industry experts believe that the railway has immense capacity to create thousands of jobs and investment opportunities, but requires private sector participation to reposition the sector for sustainable growth and development of the economy.
We'll take a short break, after which Network News continues. Stay with us.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's what LG wants you to see. Just what we see now, through our technology. LG OLED TV.
So Clean, the detergent brand trusted by millions of Nigerians, now with a new look. For decades, its 30% concentrated formula has been trusted to wash faster, brighter, cleaner. Introducing So Clean with new stain magnet technology. The new advanced enzyme formula pulls trapped dirt out of fiber like a magnet. So Clean, now with stain magnet technology for even better stain removal.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News, reaching you live from Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. Preparations are in top gear towards ensuring a successful marking of the 10th anniversary of the Sultan Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III on the throne of the Sokoto Caliphate. Stakeholders have spoken on the Caliphate established in 1804 and the level of preparation for the 10th anniversary of the 20th Sultan. Mohammed Nasser reports.
Was an independent Islamic caliphate established in the last 212 years by Usman ibn Fodio during the Fulani Wars in West Africa. The legacy left by the founding fathers of the caliphate include fairness, equity, and struggle against injustice, which proved to be relevant to the contemporary leaders of the world, as well as unquenchable thirst for a sincere and true Islam as the religion of peace.
They have established a very good leadership. Truly democratic, it was truly Islamic, and it was truly principled without fear or favor.
Speaking on the preparations towards making the 10th anniversary of the 20th Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, Kogunan Sokoto, Nasir Bako says,
assess his successes and try to see how well he has performed, to thank Almighty Allah for granting him 10 years on the throne in peace and tranquility.
Koguna Sokoto also disclosed that there are lots of programs due line up for the occasion coming up on the 2nd of November 2016. In Sokoto, Muhammad Nasser, NTA News.
Sympathizers have continued to pay condolence visits to the family of Mr. and Mrs. Jacob Washi, who lost their 4-year-old son when a wall in his classroom collapsed on him. Hakimat Ali, who visited Kado village where the tragic incident took place, has an update.
4-year-old late David Jacob is the first child of his parent. According to his mother, on that fateful day of the incident, he did not want to go to school.
Since day before yesterday, he told me, say that, Mommy, I will not go into school. I said, David, you people are start a test. No need for you to stay at home. I forced myself to take him to the school.
I leave everything to God. God take control.
Those injured in the incident are still nursing their injuries.
Then we went for break, and when I was feeding the little child, then the block came and fell upon us. Then I was trying to run, then the block now fell on top of my leg.
At the time of filing this report, the scene has been cleared of the debris. However, the Director, Department of Quality Assurance, FCT Education Secretariat, Ayuba Didam, says the school proprietor will not go unpunished.
It's a clear violation of the law that is set in the FCT that establishes the private and public schools. Secondly, we had sealed this place officially.
The proprietor is in police custody while investigation is still on. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliu, NTA News.
Up ahead, global tidbits and sports update. We'll be back in just a moment.
The production, distribution and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
Call of change, stand up, Nigeria. Change is here and it's going to stay. Change begins with you. Oh yeah, make we go. Go to let the change begin from within. Look at you, Ogeruola. Change begins.
Thank you for staying with us on NTA Network News. Wildlife refugee occupiers in a shock acquittal, and Kenya set to nip in the bud alarming rate of examination malpractices. Fatima Aliu brings us details on Global Tidbits.
Kenya Education Ministry says school children in the country will be barred from entering examination rooms with clipboards and geometrical set boxes, including mobile phones. Cheating cases in Kenya rose by 70% last year, leading to the arrest of teachers and cancellation of results for 5,000 students. More than 1.5 million children will start writing examinations next week. And 7 leaders of an armed militia who led a 41-day standoff at a U.S. federal wildlife refuge in Oregon have been cleared of the charges against them. The surprise verdict acquitted them of conspiracy and firearms offenses. The militia occupied the refuge in early January, accusing the government of unlawful interference in the affairs of ranchers. A total of 26 people have been charged over the standoff. Some have already pleaded guilty to conspiracy. A second group of defendants is due to stand trial in February. Fatima Aliu, NTA News.
Talking sports now, countdown to December's Legends Wrestle for National Unity begins as the Nigeria Basketball Federation seeks improvement for the sport. Ayodeji Makinde brings us details on Sports Update.
The need for all tiers of government to develop sports at the grassroots as a major booster of national unity has again been emphasized by stakeholders in Abuja during the official torch lightning by former head of state General Yakubu Gowon to mark the countdown to the forthcoming Legends Wrestling Championship slated for December 9 to 10 in Enugu.
It's time we begin to change the narrative, and so to do so we need to use sports, which we believe is something that's common to every Nigerian.
The Legends Wrestle for National Unity is being organized by Nigerian World Wrestling Champion Osita Ofo, also known as the Ultimate Commander, in conjunction with the Enugu State government. How to take Nigerian basketball as a game and its administration to the next level is the thrust of a 2-day board meeting of the Nigeria Basketball Federation, which started Friday in Abuja. President of the Nigeria Olympic Committee, Habu Gumel, commended the Youth Development Initiative of the NBBF and called for early preparation by all federations ahead of 4 major competitions holding between 2017 and 2019. As the 2016 Interior Games set to climax Saturday in Kaduna, correspondent Benny Adams reports that the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is leading the medal table with 7 gold, 6 silver and 3 bronze medals, followed by Nigeria Prisons with 2 gold and a bronze medal. Meanwhile, correspondent Lekon Kilajulu in Katsina reports that NAF Training Command Kaduna are set to emerge champions after an impressive 21 gold, 15 silver and 14 bronze on day 5 of the 8th Nigerian Air Force Games, which ends Saturday with a novelty match between the selected teams of Governor Aminu Bello Masari and Air Chief Sadiq Abubakar at the Muhammadu Diko Stadium Saturday. With Sports Update, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
Burial arrangements have been released for Dr. Taiwo Olani Oladoku, who died in a ghastly motor accident along Abuja Road. A statement by the Director General of the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, CBAC, said, service of songs takes place next week, Tuesday by 4 p.m. at NTA Arena, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. Christian wake is on Thursday by 5 p.m. in Ashogo, Oyo Town. Body leaves Abuja to Ibadan on Friday, 4th November by a private airline, while interment takes place in Oyo by 3 p.m. same day. A former NTA network newscaster, late Dr. Taiwo Oladoku was Deputy Director, Research and Publication and head Zaria Liaison Office in Kaduna State of the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, CBAC. Let's now take a look at the weather picture for Saturday.
Hello again and welcome to the weather segment from the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. It's generally going to be a day with very fine weather conditions in the morning, except for the northern cities when we anticipate dust haze in moderate visibility of between 3 to 5 kilometers, and we expect this to last throughout the day. The central states will be in partly cloudy skies, while the southern cities will be cloudy. Later in the day, We anticipate sunny and hazy conditions over the central states, although areas south of Abuja will experience localized thundery showers. The southern cities are likely to experience localized thunderstorms. It's generally going to be a very hot day. We advise that you take.
And that concludes NTA Network News on a day that Governor Olusegun Mimiko took his case on PDP gubernatorial crisis in Ondo State for President Muhammadu Buhari to intervene. We also told you that the Nigeria Immigration Service has brought closure to the Immigration Service employment issue of 2014 by today recruiting 888 of the applicants. And you also heard that Nigeria and Portugal will soon commence the implementation of a bilateral air service agreement. We thank you for watching NTA Network News. And just before we go, a reminder that you can get all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. I'm Elizabeth Banu, and from all of us here, it's good night.